Hello children. Hello children. How are you doing? I hope you all are fine. And today's topic is colonialism and tribal societies, chapter number 2, and I am your teacher, Mrs. Leena. SST, Book 8, Samir, Chapter 2, Colonialism and Tribal Societies. Hello children, how are you doing? I hope you all are fine. I'm again here, your teacher, Mrs. Leena, and today I'm going to include the chapter number 2, Colonialism and Tribal Societies. In that, firstly, we are going to read about tribal livelihoods. Are you people ready to start to know about them? Let's proceed with this. Tribal livelihoods. The tribal communities living in the rugged environment of the forest engaged in various activities as a means of sustaining their way of life. These activities were essential for their survival and other characterized their unique way of living. Among the diverse range of activities, some notable practices stood out as significant aspects of their daily routines. These activities encompassed gathering फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस, हंटिंग, फिशिंग एंड एग्रीकल्चर. तो उनकी डेली रूटीन की जो भी लाइफ की चीज़ें हैं और जो वो अपनी रूटीन लाइफ में करते हैं, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल गैदरिंग, फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस मीन्स जो भी जंगलों में से इकट्ठा करना, हंटिंग करना, फिशिंग करना या फिर एग्रीकल्चर में अपना टाइम लगाना. दीज ऑल द थिंग्स देर daily scheduled things. Some of these activities were as follows. Cultivation of food. So what they do, how they cultivate the food, the tribal communities practiced a form of cultivation known as jhum and shifting cultivation. This technique involved clearing small sections of forested land by setting them on fire, which served to prepare the soil for planting. The ash produced from the burnt vegetation contained valuable nutrients like potash, which was then used to enrich the soil. तो उनका एक तरीका था कल्टिवेट करने का, that jhum and shifting cultivation. So इसमें वो सेट करते थे इस चीज़ को आग लगाकर, जो कि लेटर उनके न्यूट्रिएंट्स के रूप में उनको मिलता था, जैसे वो पोटाशियम जो कि बहुत अच्छा था उनकी सोइल के लिए. टू इंश्योर एडिक्वेट सनलाइट फॉर द क्रॉप्स, the tribals would trim the tops of the trees. Instead of traditional sowing, they adopted the practices of broadcasting, scattering and the seeds across the fields. तो बहुत ध्यान रखते थे कि धूप सब पूरी फसलों तक पहुँचे, इसके लिए वो बड़े बड़े पेड़ों को ट्रिम कर दिया करते थे. एंड उनका जो सोइंग यानी उगाने का तरीका था वो था स्कैटर करके उगाना सीड्स को. Once the crops were ready for harvest, the tribal communities would move on to a new piece of land, leaving the previously cultivated area to lie for several years. This fallow period allowed the land to recover its fertility, and its entire practice was commonly referred to as shifting cultivation. तो जहाँ पे एक बार फसल उगाने के बाद वो उस जगह को थोड़े टाइम के लिए छोड़ देते थे ताकि फिर से उसमें न्यूट्रिशन वैल्यू यानी फिर से उसमें सारी उसकी धरती में उपजाऊ शक्ति उसकी वापस आ सके. It was practiced mainly by the tribals of North East and Central India. They kept moving from one fertile land to another and thus sustained themselves. Now hunting and food gathering. Food gathering और hunting का process क्या था? The Konds, a tribal community residing in Odisha, primarily relied on hunting and gathering for their sustenance, and they organized hunting expeditions in groups and distributed the acquired meat evenly among their members. Additionally, they extracted oil from the seeds of the sal tree and mahua flower which they used for culinary purposes. तो वो तेल निकालने लगे इन सीड्स से और उन्हें अपनी किचन यानी कुकिंग के लिए कुकिंग पर्पस में यूज़ करने लगे. फॉरेस्ट फ्रूट्स एंड द रूट्स ऑफ स्पेसिफिक ट्रीज ऑल्सो कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड अ सिग्निफिकेंट पोर्शन ऑफ देयर डाइट. By living in the forest for years, the Khonds, had acquired knowledge about the medicinal herbs and shrubs. They sold them in the local market. In return, they acquired the goods they needed in the forest. अब जंगल में तो बहुत सालों से रहते थे वो और उनको अब बहुत अच्छे से उनको मेडिसिनल हर्ब्स की और श्रब्स की नॉलेज हो गई थी जिसे वो मार्केट में बेचा करते थे और जिससे उन्हें कुछ खाने पीने का सामान या गुड्स जो भी ज़रूरत होता था वो उससे ले लिया करते थे. Labor work, a portion of the tribal population found employment as agricultural laborers on the estates of Jamaidar, and while others were engaged as peasants by plantation owner, certain tribals sought employment in district factories and mines to augment their income. सो इसमें कैटेगराइज था ये इस तरह के उसमें कुछ जमींदार थे, कुछ लेबरर्स थे, कुछ प्लांटेशन ऑनर्स थे. सो द scarcity of forest resources caused by factors like famine or forest fires prompted some tribals to venture out the forest in pursuit of job opportunities. The tribal areas often penetrated by traders, money lenders or contractors. The traders came to sell their goods either at high prices or in exchange of forest produce. या तो वो उनसे ज़्यादा दामों में अपने गुड्स बेच दिया करते थे या फिर उनसे फॉरेस्ट प्रोडक्ट जो भी प्रोडक्ट्स होते थे उनसे एक्सचेंज में ले लिया करते थे. द मनी लेंडर्स गेव लोन्स ऑन द टू द ट्राइबल्स एट हाई रेट्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एंड the contractors came in search of labor in low prices. अब हम बहुत ज़्यादा हमारे यहाँ पे अवेलेबल थे, लो प्राइसेस पे लेबर मिल जाती थी. एंड thus to make their ends meet, the dependency of the tribals on these countrymen increased. Many of them reduced to poverty or came under heavy debts to pay back the loans. अब लोन तो ले लिया लेकिन वापस करने के लिए इतनी बड़ी बड़ी लोन लेना और उसको रिड्यूस मतलब गरीबी आ जाना और उसको वापस ना कर पाना, दैट वाज द प्रॉब्लम. नाउ हर्डिंग ऑफ एनिमल्स. सेवरल ट्राइबल्स communities pursued a pastoral way of life, leading nomadic lifestyles as they moved from one location to another along with their herds of animals. Their movement was guided by the availability of food resources and grazing land, ensuring the sustenance ऑफ देयर हर्ट्स. अब लोग झुंड में लेके जाते थे, लोग पालते थे जानवरों को और उनकी मूवमेंट इस बेस पर होती थी कि उनको ऑलरेडी पता होता था कि कहाँ पे फूड रिसोर्सेज है, कहाँ पे ग्रेजिंग लैंड है उनके जानवरों के लिए. Notable examples of such pastoral tribes included the Van Gujars in Punjab and the Labodis in Andhra Pradesh, who primarily focused on cattle herding. The Gaddis from Kulu excelled in shepherding, with the Bakarwalas in Kashmir specialized in the rearing of goats. Now let's proceed further with the cultivation of crops. Certain tribal communities such as the Munda people of Chota Nagpur adopted a sedentary lifestyle instead of their traditional nomadic practices. They transitioned to settled agricultural living, cultivating crops to meet their dietary needs and sustenance. To enhance their farming, they introduced the use of plugs, and over time, as they resided on specific plots of lands and extended period, they gradually established rights and claims to the territory. The land was jointly owned by the whole clan that cultivated, it, and at times some members of the clan assumed more power than the other and thus became chiefs. Change in the life of tribals after colonialism. Colonialism has a dual impact, as it not only led to British occupying forests, land, but also exerted unfavorable influences on the political, economic and social aspects of tribal communities. Political impact was that politically the tribal chiefs were deprived of their independence, authority and administrative powers. They could still retain their plots of land and tires but had to follow the British rule and laws in the exercise of their functions. The long-standing tribal customs of communal and ownership was disrupted, leading to internal tensions and disputes within tribal communities. आपस में ही उनके ट्राइबल में ही झगड़े होने लगे. The chief were compelled to offer tribute to British authorities and prepare their people as per British stipulations. Economic impact. Economically, the tribal communities experienced oppression and were relegated to the status of laborers and under British rule. The British administration opposed the jhum cultivation system. उन्होंने इसका खुलकर विरोध किया और उसके बाद The British administration opposed the jhum cultivation system. उन्होंने उसका खुल के विरोध किया, which involved shifting from one piece of land to another piece, making it challenging to monitor and nomadic tribal populations. In their efforts to establish better control and secure a consistent source of revenue, the British attempted to implement land settlements in the forested, setting specific revenue requirements of each area. The British failed to understand that it was not possible to practice settled cultivations in forest areas where water was less and lands got dried up quickly. As a result, settled plug cultivation did not yield good and sufficient crops. The tribals raised their voice and the British were forced to allow them jhum cultivation in some areas of the forest. In order to increase their revenues, the British took over large tracts of forest land and declared them as state property or the reserved zones. There they grew cash crops like indigo, opium, jute and poppy, which were in high demand in Europe. The tribals were not allowed to enter these reserved zones in search of food or animals. The British also put a ban on the use of timber and grazing of animals. Thus, they forced to move to the areas to earn a living. इसलिए इस सब ने उन्हें बहुत मजबूर कर दिया कि कहीं और जाके वो अपने रहने के लिए, अपने जीने के लिए धन कमाएं. The movement of tribals to far off places deprived of the British of cheap labor resources. In order to solve this problem, the British gave small tracts of land in the forest to jhum cultivators. They allowed them to cultivate these lands on the condition that the cultivators would provide labor to the British as and when required by them. The cultivators were also entrusted the task of looking after the forest. The small tracts of lands given to the cultivation did not produce enough to their family, for their family. As laborers, they got very low wages from their British employers. बहुत ही कम उन्हें भत्ता मिलने लगा. किसके लिए? From British employers. Consequently, in order to sustain a living, the cultivators resorted to money lenders and traders and contractors. The money lenders exploited them by charging high rates of interest, and the traders sold their goods at high prices. The contractors gave them jobs at low wages, thus the plight of the cultivators became miserable. So इस तरह से उनकी बहुत ही कल्टिवेटर्स का जो रूटीन था वो बहुत मिजरेबल हो गया. Discontent and anger against the new system forced them to rebel against the British. The Songram Sangamha revolt the Assam in 1906. The forest satyagraha of 1930s in the central provinces were the revolt of tribals who defied the colonial system. In the 19th century, plantation of tea and mining of coal opened prospectus of new jobs for the cultivators in Assam and Jharkhand respectively. But the condition of laborers working there was also miserable. Besides every low wages, the laborers were also denied permissions to go back to their homes. तो अब इतने कम भत्ते के साथ, इतने कम वेजेस के साथ laborers ने भी deny कर दिया to go back their homes. Social impact. Socially, the tribals resented the breakdown of their joint family system, as the laborers often had to go far off places in search of employment. काम ढूंढने के लिए बहुत दूर दूर तक जाना पड़ता था उन्हें. Some got permanently settled in towns, while some tribals were designated by the English as chieftains. In other words are called laborers. कुछ तो अपनी families को छोड़ के settle हो गए थे towns में, है ना. The chieftains looked after the reserved lands while the laborers provided their services. This led to the emergency of classes within the tribal societies. The Christian missionaries were also active in the forest to spread education among the tribals, but they were looked upon as the agents of British who had come to convert them to Christianity, that Christian धर्म में उनको चेंज किया जा रहा है, वो ये सोच के परेशान थे. तो इस बारे में like they thought that ये ब्रिटिश लोगों के एजेंट्स हैं. Rendered helpless by the colonial men, and the tribals were left with no other alternative but to rebel. The tribal movements in colonial India were mostly militant and occurred in frequent intervals. In India, there were as many as 70 tribal revolts from 1778 till 1947. The chief tribal revolts were those of the Bhils in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra 1817 till 19, the Kolis in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa from 1831 to 32, the Kutch rebellion of the Kutch and Kathiawar regions 1819, the Vigaras of Okha Mandal 1880 to 19, and the Raniosis in the Western Ghats 1822 to 29, the Khasis in Meghalaya 1829 to 32, the Mundas of Chota Nagpur 1820 to 37, and the Santals in Bihar and Bengal under Sidhu Kahanu, and this is in 1855, the Deccan riots 1875, the Bastar rebellion of central India 1910, and the Warli movement of Maharashtra is 1940. The Munda rebellion also known as the Uglulan of the Great Tumult. Tumult was one of the most popular tribal revolts led by Birsa Munda in 1899 to 1900. Its center was south of Ranchi. Birsa Munda was born in the mid of 1870s in a poor family, as his father was a sharecropper, and his early life spent amidst the vast forests of Bhonda, playing and grazing his sheep. As a young boy, Birsa heard the stories of the Munda revolts of the past and was inspired by them. He also saw the leaders of his community urging the people to raise their voices against colonialism. They often spoke of the establishment of a golden age when the Jagirdars of Dars and the Dikuz outsiders would be expelled from their lands and they would regain their ancestral rights. Barsa received his early education in the local missionaries, and there too in the sermons he heard that if the Mundas became good Christian and gave up their bad practices, they could attain the kingdom of heaven as well as regain their previously lost rights. Barsa also came under Vaishnavite influence, wore the sacred thread and maintained purity. In 1893 till 94, he participated in a movement to prevent village wastelands being taken over by the forest डिपार्टमेंट. तो उसके लिए भी उन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया. एक मूवमेंट शुरू हुआ जहाँ पे जो लैंड्स थी, वेस्ट लैंड्स थी, जो फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के थ्रू ली जा रही थी, अपने अंडर में की जा रही थी, उसके अगेंस्ट भी उन्होंने फाइट किया. Mundas to refrain from drinking liquor and being superstitious. He wanted them to return to their glorious past, Satyug, from the present life Kalyug. He also stood against the Hindu landlords, money lenders and the Christian missionary whom he referred to as outsiders. So, इन सब outsiders के खिलाफ उन्होंने आवाज़ उठाई. In his efforts to bring about changes in Munda society, Barsa enlisted the support of tribal chiefs known as Sardars, who shared his goal of ousting foreign landlords. Consequently, his movement evolved into both an agriculture and political one. He travelled from village to village, arranging gatherings and rallies to encourage people to join his cause. His followers took action by targeting company officials, law enforcement officers, landlords and money lenders. In an attempt to suppress the revolt, the British officials arrested Munda in 1895 and he was accused of causing revolts and riots and sentenced off for 2 years. After his release, he restarted the movement with vigor. In 1899, on Christmas Eve, Barsa proclaimed a rebellion to establish Munda Raj with himself as the head. He encouraged the murder of landlords, money lenders, rulers, aliens and Christians. The non-tribal poor people were to be separate from attacks and he gathered a force of 6,000 Mundas armed with bows, arrows, swords and spears. तो उसने अपनी एक सेना बना ली 6,000 मुंडास के साथ, जिनके हाथों में उन्होंने तीर कमान दिए, तलवारें दी. And his followers raided the property and lands of money lenders and landlords. A white flag was declared as the symbol of Barsa Raj. तो वहाँ उनकी पहचान थी झंडा, white flag. Barsa was arrested in February 1900. He suffered from cholera and died in the jail in June 1900. After his death, the Munda rebellion faded away, but it forced the government to pass the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act of 1908. The act banned began forced labor and introduced laws to safeguard the land rights of the Mundas in their villages. The Barsa movement also displayed the strength, myth and courage of the tribals against aliens. In course of time, Barsa Munda began to be considered as a hero and his movement provided strength and pace to other socio-religious movements of that time. Tribal movements in the northeast, Assam. Assam witnessed a series of tribal revolts in 1893 to 94. The main cause of these revolts was the high land revenue demands. As a result of colonialism, the revenue demand of the Rang and Kamrup district had gone up to by 50 to 70%. When the peasants failed to pay the revenue, their land were seized by the British officials. अगर वो revenue नहीं pay करते थे तो छीन ली जाती थी उनसे लैंड. द peasants united together and protested under the leadership of local leaders. The British succeeded in suppressing the revolts. तो उन्होंने revolts तो शुरू किया but ब्रिटिश लोगों ने उसे suppress कर दिया. Manipur. The war of succession between the princes of Manipur gave the British a chance to interface the internal affairs of the state. On the death of King of Manipur, his eldest son, Surchandra, was crowned as the new king, but he was overthrown by Prince Tikendrajit and his allies. Surchandra then sought British help to regain his lost power. उन्होंने सहारा लिया ब्रिटिश का अपनी जो पावर जो उनसे खो गई थी उनको वापस लेने में. The British declared war against Tikendrajit on 27th April 1991. Although he offered tough resistance, Tikendrajit was defeated, captured and hanged by the British. उस वॉर में हार गए टिकेंद्रजीत जी और ब्रिटिश ने उनको फांसी पर लटका दिया. Later on, a monument called Bir Tikendrajit Park was built in his memory on the place where he was hanged by the British. तो वहाँ पे उनको उनकी याद में ये एक पार्क बना दिया गया जहाँ पे उनको हैंग किया गया था ब्रिटिश के थ्रू. Meghalaya. After winning the Battle of Buxar in 1765, the British acquired the Diwani rights over Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, and in an effort to streamline revenue collection, the British authorities aimed to construct a road linking the Brahmaputra and Surma valleys. This road would traverse the Khasi Hills, home to the Khasi tribe. Furthermore, the British had plans to establish a sanatorium in the Khasi Hills. However, the Khasi tribe strongly opposed both the road and the sanatorium, expressing their displeasure. Additionally, their resentment grew due to the imposition of a house tax on residents of the Khasi Hills in 1860. In response to these grievances, the Khasi tribe initiated a revolt, although their resistance lacked a proper organization and was subsequently quelled by the British authority. The British also levied an income tax on the people towards the close of 1860. This resulted in another revolt that was led by V. Keong Non Bag. This revolt was so well organized, the 7 British regiments and troops had to be sent to suppress it. V. Keong Non Bag was arrested and hanged in front of the public to strike terror in people's heart and mind. In 1872, the British sent their regiments in the Garo Hills to establish control over the region. This sparked off another revolt led by Pa Togan Sangama. The tribals were again defeated easily. Their outdated weapons could not compete with the advanced European means of warfare. Other revolts, some other smaller revolts against colonialism were as follows. Kirwar or Safahar movement 1874. Led by Bhagirath Manji, the movement aimed at social reforms. It popularized the idea of one God. The movement also attacked the harsh revenue policy of the British. It is said that by 1881, over 41,000 tribals of the Santal Pargana region has joined the revolt. A British contingent of 45,000 soldiers was deployed in the area to suppress the revolt. Thenceforth, a police force was permanently stationed in the Pargana. तो वहाँ पे एक टुकड़ी हमेशा के लिए वहाँ परमानेंट रख दी गई. Movement of 1914 led by Chatra Oraon. Oraon urged his people to undergo self-reformation by giving up drinking and animal sacrifices. He preached a virtuous life devoid of vices. In his attempts, he was joined by 26,000 tribals and he organized non-violent protest against landlords, moneylenders and administrators. Oraon also asked his followers not to work without wages. कोई भी बिना भत्ते के, बिना मजदूरी के काम नहीं करेगा, और pay taxes. Alarmed by this his popularity, the British took early measures to suppress the revolt. हर बार की तरह उसे भी दबाने की कोशिश की गई. सो बच्चों, आपने चैप्टर को बहुत अच्छे से सुना, समझा, अंडरलाइन किया. अभी हम लोग इस चैप्टर को एक्सरसाइजेस के थ्रू रिवाइज और प्रैक्टिस करने वाले हैं. Okay students, now let's do the exercises to get the practice for the chapter we have read. The very first question is objective type question where you have to put the trick, correct option. Among all those options, one is correct option. Like which one of the following refers to the shifting cultivation? Just tell me. Yes, very good. It's Jum. And when was the Songram Sangamaha revolt taken place? Yes, 1906. Good job. Who among the following was the leader of the Uglul revolt? Good job. Birsa Munda. Yes. Which one of the following refers to the group of people living in forest areas and having their own traditions, language and customs? Yes. Which one? Tribes. Good job. What was or were his sources of livelihood for the tribal people? Yes, all of these. Cultivation also, hunting also, food gathering, and all these options are correct. Okay, let's now proceed further with the second question. Write T for true and F for false statement. The Khasis revolted in Meghalaya. Is that true? Right. The British were unable to suppress the revolts of Northeast. False. Okay. Now we have in Jum cultivation land was left fallow for some years. It's true. Yes. The Bakir was hailed from Assam. It's false. Munda aimed at the establishment of Satyug. It's true. So let's do the fill in the blanks. In third question, Ulgulan was another name of Munda rebellion. A dash flag was a symbol of the Barsaraj. White flag. Good job. Dash in the ash was used to fertilize the soil. Potash. Okay. Dash tribe of central India refused to work as laborers for foreigners. Bega. Okay. Forest areas where cash crops grew were called British. Okay, fine, good job. Now let's proceed to the question number 4 where you have to answer the following questions and write the answers in your notebook. Students, read the questions carefully, check the answers in your chapter. Based on chapter knowledge, you have to write all the answers in your notebook. Now it's fun time, dear. In A part, you have to write a short note on the charges in the tribal life after independence. This will include it in your writing skills. And now this was the chapter's exercises. These exercises were based on your chapter knowledge. Read the chapter once again if you were not able to do the exercises. Read chapter for your knowledge, to enhance the knowledge, okay, and have fun, enjoy.